Welcome to a bonus episode of Bravo and Blaze with Jenny Blaze. As some of you may know, I have been very invested in this Diddy case, and today I have attorney Ronald Richards here to answer all the legal questions we have around this case. Thank you for being here, Ronald. I really appreciate you taking the time to come visit us.
My pleasure.
So the activity around this Diddy case is nonstop. It feels like every day we get new information. So can you give us the latest update on what is going on with Diddy's case as of today? It's Friday afternoon for everyone.
Yeah, as you know, it's a fluid case, and we do cover this on our X platform, which is at Ronald Richards. If anybody listening to this, whoever wants to listen to it, and we post some of the Diddy stuff on the Instagram, which is at Attorney Ronald Richards. So basically, the Second Circuit Court of Appeal had the bail motion, and he tried to go for a home run and just have him release him based on the record, and that was never going to happen. But for whatever reason, it literally took 12 days for them to get a panel and assign it, which was very kind of on the slower side. I've seen them, set things much faster before, but it's going to take another month. If I was his lawyers, I would have just withdrew the appeal and filed a new one in front of the new district judge and see what he does first.
Okay, can we back up a little bit? Why did Diddy get his judge switched? That seems like there's potential for corruption. And this case, I feel like everyone's on pins and needles because politicians have been named, royalty has been named, and there's obviously high profile A-list celebrities that are named. So can you tell us or give us insight into why the change in the judge? Why did that even happen? And is it a good thing or a bad thing? What does it mean?
Well, I mean, there was a lot of amateur speculation about it, but it was really simple why it happened. The judge that it was assigned to, he couldn't get a clear answer from the parties whether the case was going to go to trial within the speedy trial time of 70 days. It never goes within 7 days because there's excludable time if you file a motion and things like that. But the indication was this guy wants a fast trial date. And believe me, he got one. It's going to be May 5th. That's fast.
Is
So
that fast? I thought that was
for,
kind of,
for a criminal case where there's, you know, 500,000 pages of material, no, it's very fast. Yeah, if he was out of custody, they would have asked for a trial date in 2 years or a
wow.
year and a half because you have to go through all that stuff. They haven't even given him all the discovery yet. So the first judge at the bail hearing told him, if you guys want a fast trial date, I'm going to get someone else to take this case because I think he has a lot of trials.
Oh, okay.
So
So it was more
so,
like
so
a
it was not.
scheduling type of thing?
Well, yeah, because he wasn't going to ruin his whole courtroom over the Diddy trial, just so he'd have to deal with a complicated trial if he has a bunch of things on calendar in April and May of next year. So he didn't want to do that. So he sent it to a newer judge that I guess what happened is they probably sent an email around. He probably told the clerk, I'm going to recuse myself or I got a load issue. Can you get another judge to do this case? And that's why he transferred. I don't know what their procedure is
Hmm.
internally,
Hmm.
but that's what probably happened. He probably started asking judges, can you take a trial in this case? And that's what happened. So
Oh,
it's not a corruption issue.
okay. I didn't know if that was like standard practice or
It's not
there's,
common in federal court. It isn't, but most of the time the defense counsel tells the judge, "Hey, I'm gonna be filing a stipulation for a continuance soon." And since they never did, the judge was like, "Well, I'm not going to take a chance." And then the guy wants a speedy trial, and I'm busy, so I'm going to find another judge now.
okay. I guess that's
So
fair.
that's what he did. That's what happened.
Do you think he's at a flight risk?
No, I don't.
You
I,
don't?
I do not think he's a flight risk. He wasn't a
Oh.
flight risk before the. He knew there was going to be an indictment coming, and he came to New York. I thought, and he was putting. I mean, I don't. Where's he going to go in the world? Where do you think he's going to? Where would he? Where would someone that famous go and not get detected?
People are saying Bali, like Russell Simmons. Do you have any thoughts on that, or have you heard about his alleged, or he's being accused of some sexual assault, and they're
And
saying
criminally or civilly?
that I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not aware of Russell Simmons being a quote fugitive from the United States.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like officially one, but I don't know if it were to be a criminal charge at some point, would he become a fugitive because he's been hiding out in Bali?
You're allowed to go places, but someone that's famous. It's hard for them to be a fugitive. I mean, to hide. They may be there and say, "Look, come extradite me." That's a different argument. But every country extradites for sex crimes.
Oh, they do? I
Yeah,
thought
except
Bali
unless
was an exception or something. That's what people are speculating.
maybe we don't have an extradition treaty with Bali. But do
Oh,
you think Diddy's going to want to spend the rest of his life sitting in Bali, never crossing an international border again?
I think that would be better than being in jail.
It may, but he could have done that, when he could have done that when he found out there was a case, right? And he didn't.
Yeah.
So the best evidence he's not fleeing is he didn't. I mean, he could have left when they served the first search warrant. They weren't going to arrest him the day they served the warrants, right?
So then would a judge say that someone's only a flight risk if they actually tried to flee?
No, someone's a flight risk if they have the resources, the charges are serious, they have a lot of international travel, they don't have a lot of ties to the community. But Diddy has all those things. He has ties, and he was posting his house in Miami. I think danger to the community was the bigger problem for him, is that he's going to call witnesses in the
Yeah.
case. They're worried about him making settlements. One, like the best example of getting rid of your criminal case with a settlement of all time is Kobe Bryant. He settled that rape case in Colorado,
And
and
he
that
never got charged criminally?
he did get charged criminally, but during the case, he settled the civil case, and then she said she didn't want to testify anymore.
Oh. So speaking of settlements, this reminds me of Tony Bugsby and his 120 plus clients that he has. They're sending out demand letters, and he also has communicated that some of these people that have received the demand letters are already paying out to the victims. I think what people are worried about, I guess, like we're a little confused on what a demand letter truly is, because it almost sounds, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this process, but at first glance, it sounds almost like blackmail.
It
And
is
so,
a demand letter is legalized extortion.
yeah, so how does that whole process work? And is it just to send out the demand letter to get money for the victims? Like, why would they pay if they can still get charged criminally, is what I'm wondering.
You mean why would the potential defendant of the demand
Yes.
letter pay?
Yeah.
Well, because if if the person that's going to settle doesn't publicly file the lawsuit and they get a settlement, they may not be motivated to the authorities aren't going to know about it. That he could tell them she has never filed a police report yet. So, we as part of the settlement, we're going to agree that there was no crime. That you could put stuff in the agreement that
Oh.
that both sides agree there may be positions that you can write it up so it makes the test any potential criminal complaint that she files later suspect. And so and also typically it doesn't happen. The person goes and wants to be part of a criminal case if they get a civil settlement. They've spent so much time on bail. Now their big motion is they're mad about the tape from the hotel room.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up next. Can you explain to me what their case is, or what their angle is on this? And what does
Yeah,
it mean
their angle
if it's
is
true?
and I hate to say it, but it looks like they copied Mayor Adams' case that Quinn Emanuel filed.
The mayor of New York?
Yeah, yeah, Alex Spiro, sorry, from Quinn Emanuel. He filed a motion for the same exact thing like a week ago, saying they leaked grand jury material and they put a bunch of articles. And in this case, Diddy's lawyer said, we don't think the prosecution team leaked it. We think Customs leaked it. To give Diddy's lawyers credit, they did write him about this a couple months ago. It's not like they made it up. So I'm not saying that they completely copied the motion, but Alex Spiro and Quinn Emanuel, like you got to give them credit. Eric gets arrested. Judge Mayor Adams gets arrested. Within seconds, they're filing motions to dismiss, motions for grand jury. I mean, they got the prosecution on the defensive from Jump Street. Of course, their client was given bail and OR, much easier. But what I'm saying is
What is OR?
own recognizance.
What does that mean?
He didn't have to post any bail. He just signed.
He
Where's
did
the mayor
it?
of New York? Do you think he's a flight risk too?
I don't know him that well.
Yeah, he's not a flight risk. Okay, so he's staying as mayor. He's sticking in there. So he
Okay.
Alex Spiro. Plus, it's a different type of offense. It's not a
Yeah.
sex offense. But they filed. So the same motion they filed. Now Diddy's lawyers filing. Oh, we don't like the press leaks, and they're asking that the judge suppress the video of him beating that poor woman in the hotel room hallway in the hotel hallway, but the judge isn't going to do that. In a
Oh,
million years,
good.
that's never getting suppressed.
Thank God. Okay. That
Never,
was.
never. I promise everybody I'll chop my bar card off if that gets suppressed on TV. It's never happening, but
Oh, thank
it
God.
doesn't matter. So that's what they got going on. They filed that motion. They've hired a couple of appellate specialists to do the bail motion, and now we're waiting for all the discovery to be delivered to them. But there's really nothing else going on. And then he mentioned, that he wants a gag order. So the government said, okay, then he's got to be gagged too. And he liked talking to the media, so I don't know why he just just zipped his own mouth.
Wait, Diddy's lawyer?
Yeah, when he told the court he wants a gag order that no one's allowed to, no more leaks, and then the government said, fine, then we want a mutual gag order, and the judge said that's a good idea. But I know Diddy's lawyer likes talking to the media.
Yeah, he went on TMZ and was talking about how one bottle of baby oil is sufficient.
Yeah, but it's all stupid. He shouldn't be talking to anybody.
I
And they got a
agree.
lot of work cut out for themselves. I mean, it's going to
I
be a
thought that
hard.
was shocking that his lawyer went on TMZ and spoke on regards to this case. Is that something standard that lawyers typically do?
I mean, in a civil case, if I know it'll rattle my target's cage and they're a celebrity, I sometimes do appearances because I know they're so sensitive, but not in a federal criminal case. No, you don't do that because there's local rules in New York in that specific court that you can't talk to the media and malign witnesses. They have a unique local rule for that there. So
Oh.
in New York, it's not looked favorably, and you can get in all sorts of trouble. And he and
Oh.
the judge, and they did call him out on it a lot in the hearing. And you're going to walk right into that trap there.
Wow. What about the other lawyer who went on CNN and claimed that she saw some of these tapes and that she saw an A-list celebrity on it and that they like were trying to shop around this tape on the black market or something along those lines? I thought it was wild that a lawyer would go on CNN and say these types of things. Is that standard practice or common practice? What are your thoughts on
But
that?
who's they? You just got to give me the context. Who was shopping what?
She said she was approached by someone who wanted to retain her and she declined.
Oh, you mean to shop the video?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she shouldn't have discussed what a potential client told her for ethical reasons, obviously,
Yes.
because she
Okay.
could be, because if that client ever got charged, they could subpoena her and say, did this person seek a consultation with you? Not what they asked her, just did they seek it? That's not privilege. So she would be in a real dilemma then at that point.
Oh, snap.
Only communications are privileged, not the identity of a client is not privileged.
So then we can find out who is trying to shop around this tape.
Well, we only could if someone subpoenaed her and took her deposition and compelled her, but I don't think anybody's going to do that. There has
Well,
to be a lawsuit.
we'll see. You never know. So then you mentioned that they put a gag order on Diddy's lawyer, and does the gag order also does that cover sealing the documents to the
No,
public?
no, no. They're
Or
going
is
to put
that
it,
something
they're going
different?
to do a gag order. They have to agree on the terms. But no, no, none of the documents are going to be sealed unless they meet a criteria. But most documents filed in court are open to the public. It's an open process.
I thought I read somewhere that they said the prosecutors agree to a protective order regarding sealed documents.
Yes, yes. That's the protective order for things in the case that they're going to give the defense that aren't part of the public record, like people's personal identifying information, or if there's sex scenes, they're not going to
Yeah, they're
file
not.
those to the public. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the defense can't put them on TMZ. Yeah,
Oh, okay, so that's what that's
that's
for.
different than court filings or documents.
Okay.
It's stuff that would not be public, personal tapes or social security numbers, stuff like
Oh,
that.
okay. Well, I guess what people were afraid of is that the names of the people committing crimes would not be revealed to the public. Is
They
that?
may not, they can't be revealed unless they're charged.
Oh,
If there's
okay.
a grand jury investigation, the reason why we have that secret process is because many people are investigated and but few are ever charged. So you don't want those people's careers hurt because they were never charged. Just because being investigated doesn't mean you're guilty of anything.
Right.
That's a low standard to be investigated.
Hmm. Okay. So I
I
think
mean, even as a lawyer, I could tell you I've documented, I once got a case dismissed because of it. Government attempts to investigate the lawyer, or, it happens. And that information is not public because if there's never any sort of filing as a result, you don't want people's lives ruined saying they were under investigation, because that'll be misconstrued.
okay. So I have a question. This is like potentially related, and we're
Okay.
not sure. This is all speculation, but we have seen a woman named Jaguar Wright go all over the place on social media saying, making these very loud accusations towards people, not saying alleged. She's just outright saying things specifically towards Jay-Z and Beyonce. She went on Pierce Morgan this past week on his Uncensored show or podcast, and apparently Jay-Z and Beyonce sent I don't know if it was a cease and desist, but they sent something to where Pierce Morgan had to issue an apology and edit his interview with Jaguar Wright on his show that's called Uncensored. That's a pretty big deal. And so people are speculating that Jay-Z and Beyonce have not sued Jaguar Wright for these defamatory statements because she has nothing, but they felt comfortable sending, this demand to Pierce Morgan because his network is owned by Rupert Murdoch.
Okay, yeah,
And
Rupert
so,
Murdoch.
can you speak to your thoughts on why this went down? Like, why would this is the first response we've seen from Jay-Z and Beyonce since this Diddy stuff came out. So it's kind of jarring, I think, for the public to be like, wow, this is the first time they're doing something. And then after that, their lawyer went on TMZ pretty much giving a warning to everyone else. Essentially, it sounded like he was saying, you better not talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce or else we're going to take action.
Yeah, well, Wright made a bunch of allegations, and what Jay-Z's lawyer did, I was just checking the letter, is they basically, it is sort of unprecedented to get someone to cut an interview from a show, but the show is responsible for publishing defamatory information,
Mhm.
and Jay-Z and Beyonce, could we agree they're rich?
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so
everyone knows that.
do you wanna have a war with them?
No, I would, if I was Pierce Morgan, I would probably do the same. I think he did what he
Yeah.
had to do. However, why aren't they going after Jaguar Wright, who's actually saying these things?
Well, because she probably would love it.
You
Then
think
she'd
so?
be on the news, she'd get to do interviews, and she has nothing. That's why.
So you feel like if they were to sue her, it's just basically benefiting her and nobody else.
Yeah, I do. And then she can subpoena them to come to court and take their depo. It'd probably be great if they sued. That's the problem with celebrities suing other people. You know, then they got to deal with it, and then they get to appear for depositions, and who knows? Maybe a lawyer, a crazy lawyer, will defend her and start all sorts of things. It's better just to get it cut. You got to be careful if you're famous not to
Yeah.
get yourself involved in civil suits. You know, that's what you give up when you're famous. You are a target. And the Garth Brooks things from last week, I mean, he took an interesting tact. He had Daniel Petruccelli file a preemptive lawsuit in Mississippi to shut up the accuser, and they ran and filed in Los Angeles. So, they were trying to get a federal court to say you can't file because it's all a BS allegation.
Oh,
Or you
I
got to
haven't.
file the case anonymously. And then she ran and filed it anonymously with just her name and sued Garth Brooks. And then it was all over the news. But now she's alleging rape. So the DA may have to investigate that because there's no statute of limitations in California on rape. So I'm saying he's saying, well, I wasn't going to pay the blackmail, just like you said at the beginning of the show. So if he gets criminally investigated, how much is that going to cost him? I mean, and then the question is, if it's true, why did you get a hotel room when you're with your stylist and there's one room? I mean, what idiot ever stays in the same hotel with his staff? Never. Like if when I represent clients, they tell me they're going on a road show. This I'm like, you stay there, everyone else stays here. Never mingle with employees. Why? Because if you're out alone in a room, it's a potential allegation. Like, stop thinking everybody that works for you or interacts with you is your best friend. Like, but they don't want to hear that, But a lawyer that has seen it all, every month I send out child support payments that without court orders. And I do
What does
that
that
even
mean?
presently. Like people have children out of wedlock and they want to take care of them, but they don't want a court order, So they
Oh, I
pay
get
the
you.
they pay the woman child support without a court order, but they pay her more if she doesn't file. So like we'll say, here's the guideline. Let's say the guideline's 4. We'll give you 8. If you file, it goes back to 4. So 100 out of 100 times, my opponent's client says, sure, I'll take the voluntary payment because we're giving her more than the law allows. Not really because we want to shut her up, just because if you break up this marriage, the guy's going to have to pay child support and spousal over there. So it's just an economic decision. But I mean, I,
Oh
I,
my
I make these
gosh.
payments all the time for clients because it's a service. Like and I don't want they don't want to have this one night of where two people made a
Oh
decision
gosh.
to ruin a whole family and create another divorce. But it
Wait,
happened.
can you tell me how many of these you do a month?
I can't, but I
You
could
don't
tell
have
you
to
that
tell me who, but just like
I would
how
never tell
many? Oh,
anybody.
shoot.
I mean, it's surprising how many I have to deal with.
Is it
And then
like
I have
more than 10?
Yeah, and then I have a relationship with the person that I have to do this with because I of course want them to feel like there's a person to talk to. They can't talk to
Yeah.
my client, and I got to listen to about. It's actually pretty friendly. Like there's nothing. It's not tension because I'm straightforward. Of course, go file for child support, whatever you want, but then it's going to go down because he's going to be paying double now. It's going to get split up.
Yeah.
So it's a
Oh my
common thing, though. I mean, it
God.
happens all the time,
I
both
did
women
not,
and men.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a lot of
I'm
people know that.
so I'm so naive. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
it's attorneys have all sorts of functions, but that's a function is to protect. And if the lawyer was telling the truth and he got 12,000 calls and there's 120 women, that means those women probably have some evidence of what happened because everybody's a digital reporter now.
I have a question that's kind of related, but not specifically directly related to Diddy, but I guess Tupac's family has opened an investigation on his death. Do you have any thoughts or any insight on that and how that could play into the Diddy case at all?
I mean, only if the DA wants to review it. It's not a federal issue, it's a state issue.
If the private investigators find some concrete evidence, is that something that they would have to hand over to the DA or something?
They could. I mean, there was it was in Vegas, so they'd have to, if the Clark County District Attorney wants to um investigate it, they can. I don't, it was 28 years ago.
I know.
It's a long time ago.
But there's no statute of limitations on that, is there?
There's not, no, but
Okay.
it's hard to prove a cold case.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Well, I do appreciate all of your insight today, and I thank you for being here with us, Ronald. Can you tell everyone where they can find you? Actually, I think you did already, but
At the beginning,
remind
yeah, but
everyone.
one more, they can find me on X. We publish a lot. We follow a lot of cases and put up real court documents to at Ronald Richards. And we on Instagram, which we have other stuff in some of the cases, but that crowd's a little different and younger. So we kind of tailor the content differently on Instagram. And that's at attorney Ronald Richards. So they're a little different. So we don't have the same one.
Gotcha. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again. I want to remind everyone to make sure you subscribe, follow, share, like, leave a comment, and 5-star review for Bravo and Blaze on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to follow on social media at Bravo and Blaze. Our YouTube channel is at Jenny Blaze. And until next time, stay lit, y'all.